Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. It's been a very long time since I've last uploaded, and as you can probably guess, a good amount has changed since the last video from about 1 year ago exactly. If you do want to know what happened to the old layout, I will put what happened in the description because it's really not all that interesting, and I really do want to get into the new layout that I've been working on over the last month, and I've been planning for even longer. So without further ado, let's get started. Here is the new layout. This one is a lot better than my last one because I spent more time on the foundation instead of actually rushing it and just jumping into the track work. I wanted this one to be more sturdy and lighter, and also built to be easily modular for the future. And of course, my little buddy still loves sleeping on that foam. We begin this journey by getting some materials at Lowe's. I'll be getting one sheet of plywood and a sheet of insulation foam, which is pretty expensive stuff nowadays. The layout is made up of these two sections to start with. Eventually it will be bigger, but I'm okay with how it is now, and when I need to expand, I will. The layout only uses 3 materials, and that's the foam, plywood, and a simple 2x2 frame under the plywood. To connect one section to another, I used a 1/4 inch bolt and a wing nut to make it easy to take apart for when that time comes. The layout is 37 inches tall with simple square frame legs made with the 2x2s. I did sell some stuff a while back since I knew I wasn't going to be using it for a while, or I just knew that I wasn't going to use it for this new layout. As you can see, I have picked up some other cool stuff like the tank cars and the gondola. I've always wanted some HO scale construction vehicles, so I picked up these North Scott models from eBay. This Pike Stuff kit is a new one because the other one was actually white, but I painted this one glacier gray, and I'm still not sure what I'm going to be using this for exactly. Here is some of the scenery stuff that I got so far for the layout, and pretty much all this is from Lombard Hobbies. I do want to try different colored ballasts this time, so I got a couple to start with. The small Walthers kit is a tank car oil loading platform for an industry that will be somewhere on the layout. On the other side of the layout, I do have all of my track stuff, starting with the Atlas Code 100/83 rail joiners. For this layout, I did decide to use all Code 83 track. It's a little bit more pricey, but I've always liked the way it looked. I'll be using all Walthers turnouts, and the flex track is from Atlas. The first step before I do anything is to glue down the foam. Since I have a lot of tacky glue from before, that is what I'll be using to glue it all down. Another great alternative to glue the foam down to the wood would be Loctite Power Grab. Once I get the foam down and I wiggle it back and forth, it's time to weigh it all down. Periodically, I will move the things on the layout just so all the spots are evenly weighed down. One thing I like to do early on is getting rid of that new construction look. To do that, I paint all the visible foam and wood in my choice of color. I use a foam brush for the sides and a regular brush for the rest of it. Here is a before clip. and the after it's all painted and done. I tore some paper to put on the carpet so I could paint all the way down the legs and obviously not make a mess. And it only took about 3.5 bottles to do this. Now it looks like a proper layout. Next up is to finally open up all the turnouts so we can lay them out and see kind of what the track plans look like in real life. I've never actually used Code 83 turnouts before, but since these are DCC friendly, I shouldn't have any problems. The only different turnout so far is going to be this curved 20-inch and 24-inch radius right-hand switch. Like I did say before, this is Atlas Code 83 Flex Track, and I have 2 bundles of 5 pieces, but I do end up needing more in the end. And if you are curious, the turnouts are actually snap switches. I obviously did not waste any time and I started laying out all the track. So as usual, I don't actually have a track plan, but I am going to be using this one that I found online as inspiration. The next day I actually began putting it together. I did decide to cut the ties off the ends and save them to slide under later on. That includes the turnouts themselves. The way I cut the ties off is by just laying it down on a hard flat surface and taking a razor blade to it. During all the track work, I decided to take a break and open up one of the Norscot models. Here it is out of the box and next to my other engine for scale. It's a pretty awesome little add-on, especially since they are a real Peterbilt and a real Caterpillar. Although it does seem like the Cat doesn't fully fit on the flatbed, so I'll probably put something else on it. And now time to continue with the track work. Before I do paint the track, I'm going to solder some of the pieces together, just so it's a little bit easier for when I put it back later on. When it comes to soldering, it is pretty easy for the most part. I am pretty rusty since it's been a while since I've done it, and I am actually using a dumbbell to hold it together so it doesn't move while I'm soldering it. It's not the best soldering job out there, but it should do the job just fine. Now we take one last look before we paint it all. Rust-Oleum dark brown camo is going to be my choice, and it always has been. You can get a can at Walmart for around $7. Before I do paint, I'm going to cover up the switches just to make sure there are no connection issues in the future. Now all the prep work is done, I gather up everything I want to paint so I can do it all in one go. We are now outside in a good painting spot, and I've laid out everything pretty neatly. And of course now we spray paint away. Roughly 12 hours later, it's dry enough to bring inside so we can clean those rails off. I think I did learn this tip from Boomer Diorama, but to scrape off the paint on the top of the rails, I just use wooden dowels. Turnouts have the same process, you just need to be a little bit more careful not to break anything, so just take your time. At this point, everything is cleaned, and now we can think about permanent placement. Like with the foam, I'm going to be using the tacky glue. The first track is guided by a line in the foam that was already there, just to make sure it's perfectly straight. Once I've checked that it's straight a million times, I can now be confident to weigh it down. Fast forward a bit, and I've gotten a few more rows of track glued down. The next day, everything is dry, and I could finally put some freight cars on the tracks. I did use some small nails to shape the curves and keep them in place, so now I can remove those. I am moving pretty fast, but that's only because I've covered all this in detail in the last layout videos, and I don't want to be repetitive for the people who watch them in order. Once all the track work is done, I will slow things down completely for when I actually film the scenery part of it. So while testing out the track, I did learn that the 68-foot gondola does struggle on the 20-inch radius curve, so I will have to just keep that in mind for when I choose industries. To cut off the extra track and how I've been cutting it, I just use my Dremel. Before we do continue the track work to the second section, I'm going to sand down the connecting pieces so that it's a smooth transition. After it's cleaned up, it's ready for track and my cat. Time to keep going with laying the track. These are the specific nails that I use to tack the track down. It only derails because it hit a nail, so I have to push them down a little bit more further. Once I do know that it's a smooth run for the cars, I use a pencil to mark the foam so I know exactly where it goes. I get some glue down, but not all the way because I know I'm going to cut it there to put a turnout. This is pretty much as far as I do get in this first episode of the new layout build series. I am looking forward to the many more episodes that I plan to make of really truly detailing this layout to how I like it. I do want to apologize for being gone for so long. It has been pretty much a year exactly since I did upload my last video. These next few months I do have a lot more time ahead of me, so I'm going to be using that to work on the layout and obviously upload more videos. If there are any questions at all about what's going on or what's gonna happen or anything, do let me know down in the comments below. And I do want to say at the end here that I thank each and every one of you guys for watching and tuning in, especially after not uploading for so long. It really does mean a lot to me. So enjoy some final clips of the layout. There's a lot to do in the future, and I hope you guys stick around. Thanks again, and I will see you guys in the next video.